The ground stretched endlessly in jagged plates of black glass, fractured and hovering inches above a glowing abyss. Between the cracks, something luminous flowed. Liquid energy, maybe casting shifting light across the alien war machines that surrounded me in a tightening circle. They had me, thousands of them. Not soldiers in the way we understand soldiers. These were constructs of chitin metal, towering forms with limbs that bent in too many directions, their bodies humming with an energy that prickle against my skin like static before a storm. Their weapons, if you could call them that, weren't held. They grew from their arms, morphing and reshaping with quiet organic clicks. And above them all, she hovered in silence. The Empress, her form was slender, almost fragile at first glance, draped in layers of iridescent armor that seemed to ripple like liquid crystal. A crown, or something like it, floated above her head, rotating slowly, projecting thin beams of light that connected her to every soldier below. She didn't move. She didn't need to. They all moved for her. I tightened my grip on the hilt of my blade. It wasn't much compared to their living weapons, a human alloy, sharpened steel, worn from years of war. But it was malleable, honest, unlike this world. A low, resonant sound rolled across the battlefield. A command. The circle tightened. "All right," I muttered, exhaling slowly. "Let's see how curious you really are." They came all at once, not with a charge, but with precision. Half the army lunging forward, while the rest held formation, weapons shifting into range configurations. Smart, chord predictable. I moved before they finished thinking. The first strike wasn't aimed to kill. It was aimed to blind. I slammed my blade into the glass like ground right into one of the glowing fissures. The moment steel met that liquid energy, the world screamed. Light erupted. A violent surge of radiant force exploded upward, fracturing the terrain and sending shards of black glass spinning into the air like a storm of razors. The front lines staggered, their formation breaking for just a second. That was all I needed. I ran through them. Not away, through. I ducked beneath a scythe like limb, pivoted off a tilted shard of terrain, and drove my blade into the joint of another creature's leg. It collapsed instantly, its body flickering as if reality itself rejected its existence. They weren't invincible. Good. A pulse of energy shot past my shoulder. Too close. I twisted mid-step, grabbed a fallen shard of that black glass, and hurled it. It didn't just cut. It disrupted. The alien it struck unraveled into threads of light. So that's how this place works. I adapted. Every movement became deliberate. I wasn't just fighting them. I was learning them. Their rhythm, their communication, the subtle delay between command and execution. And above it all, I felt her watching. The Empress hadn't moved, but I could feel the weight of her attention pressing down on me. Not anger, not even urgency, curiosity. I smiled despite myself. "Good," I whispered. "Keep watching." The second wave shifted tactics. They spread out, forming layered formations, forcing me into a narrowing corridor of overlapping fire. They were trying to hurt me, so I let them. I slowed, just enough to make it believable. Took a hit across my side, armor cracking, pain blooming, sharp and hot. I stumbled, dropped to one knee. The army surged forward, closer. No, I reached into the fissure beside me, not with my blade this time, but with my hand. The energy didn't burn. It listened. For a heartbeat, everything stopped. Then I pulled. The ground didn't just fracture, it rose. A towering wave of black glass and radiant energy surged upward in a sweeping arc, lifting me high above the battlefield as the alien formation collapsed beneath the sudden upheaval. Thousands of them, thrown, scattered, disrupted. Silence followed. Not the absence of sound, but the absence of certainty. I stood at the peak of the jagged structure, breathing hard, blood running down my side, blade still in hand. Below me, the alien army hesitated. For the first time, they didn't know what to do. And the Empress, she moved, just slid her head. Studying me, I felt it then. Not hostility, not even dominance, respect, or something dangerously close to a single human, outnumbered, outmatched. Still standing, I raised my blade, pointing it not at the army below, but at her, a challenge. The battlefield held its breath, and for one impossible moment, an entire alien empire stood stunned by one man who refused to fall. The sky above me churns like a living thing, violet clouds folding into themselves as streaks of molten gold ripple across the horizon. Nothing here obeys the rules I was raised on. Not the air that hums faintly with energy, not the ground beneath my boots, fractured slabs of black, mirrored like stone hovering over a glowing abyss, and certainly not the army closing in around me. I am the only human here. That realization doesn't come with fear anymore. Fear burned away long before this moment, stripped down to something simpler, harder, purpose. If I am the last, then I will be enough. They form a perfect circle, thousands of them, alien constructs of chitin and metal, their bodies bending at impossible angles as if joints are merely suggestions. Their limbs were shaped continuously, weapons growing and retracting with quiet organic clicks. Some glow from within, veins of pale blue light pulsing beneath translucent armor. Others emit low, harmonic tones that vibrate through my chest like a second heartbeat. Don't rush me, they don't need to. They believe this is already over. I adjust my grip on my blade, feeling the familiar weight anchor me, steel. Simple, human, it doesn't hum or shift or adapt. It doesn't need to. It does exactly what I tell it to do, unlike them. A ripple passes through the army, not movement but communication. I can't hear it, but I can see it in the synchronized tilt of their heads, the precise adjustment of their stances. Something has changed, or someone. I look up. She floats above them all, untouched by the chaos below. The Empress. Even from this distance, she commands the battlefield without effort. Her form is slender, wrapped in armor that shimmers like liquid crystal, refracting the strange light of this world into shifting patterns that hurt to look at for too long. A crown of hovering shards orbits her head, each piece rotating slowly, projecting thin lines of light that connect her to the army below like threads in a vast, living web. She doesn't move like a ruler barking orders. She observes, and right now she is observing me. Good. Let her watch. The first wave advances without warning. No roar, no signal I can understand, just motion. Half the circle surges forward while the rest shift their limbs into range configurations, their bodies locking into place like artillery. Efficient, calculated. I move before they expect me to. Instead of retreating, I sprint directly toward the densest cluster. Surprise fractures their timing, just enough. I duck beneath a sweeping blade grown from an alien arm, pivot on my heel, and drive my sword into the narrow gap where two segments of its torso meet. The creature spasms, its inner light flickering violently before collapsing into fragments that dissolve into glowing dust, so they can die. That's all I need. A blast of energy tears through the air where my head was a heartbeat ago. I drop low, roll across the uneven surface, and come up with a shard of the black ground in my offhand. It hums faintly, warm and alive. I don't question it, I throw it. It slices through the air and strikes another alien square in the chest. Instead of bouncing off, it sinks in, and the creature unravels, its form disintegrating into threads of light that scatter like embers. Useful. I don't slow down. I can't. Speed is survival here. I weave through them, never staying still long enough to be surrounded, turning their numbers against them. Every strike is precise, every movement intentional. I don't waste energy. I don't waste breath. But they adapt. The second wave doesn't chase. They spread out, forming layered lines, cutting off my paths, forcing me into tighter and tighter spaces. Their ranged units fire in coordinated bursts, herding me like prey. Smart. I let them think it's working. I stagger, just slightly after a near miss. Let my guard drop for half a second too long. A grazing hit tear across my side, pain flaring bright and sharp, real, convincing. They closer. Their formation tightens, confidence returning as they sense weakness. That's when I stop, not stumble, not hesitate. Stop. I drive my blade straight down into a glowing fissure between the fractured slabs beneath me. For a split second, nothing happens. Then the world screams. Light erupts from the ground, violent and blinding, as the energy beneath the surface reacts to the intrusion. The black slabs tremble, then surge upward in jagged waves, throwing the alien formation into chaos. Their perfect coordination shatters as the terrain itself betrays them. I move with it, climbing, leaping, using the rising structures to gain height. Below me, the army stumbles for the first time, their movements no longer synchronized. I reach the peak of a newly formed spire, breathing hard, blood running warm beneath my armor. And I look down. They hesitate, thousands of them hesitate. My gaze lifts past them, finding her again. The Empress has moved. Not much, a slight tilt of her head, a subtle shift in posture, but enough to feel different. Focused, engaged, interested. I can feel it like pressure against my skin. Not anger, not contempt, something else. I raise my blade, pointing it toward her, the gesture deliberate and unmistakable. A challenge. The battlefield goes still, no attacks, no movement. Just the hum of alien technology and the distant, pulsing breath of the sky above. For one impossible moment, an entire army waits. And I stand alone at the center of it, battered, outnumbered, and unbroken. Let them come. I'm not finished yet. She does not walk among them. She does not need to. The battlefield bends to her long before her presence ever touches the ground. High above the shifting plains of a dying world, the Empress hovers in absolute stillness, suspended within a lattice of light that pulses like a second sun. Beneath her stretches an army so vast it blots out the horizon, an endless expanse of living war forms, their bodies forged from a seamless fusion of biology and machine. They do not speak. They do not chant. Their silence is more terrifying than any war cry because they are waiting, waiting for her. Her form is both elegant and alien, a silhouette that suggests something almost humanoid, yet unmistakably beyond it. Layers of iridescent armor ripple across her body like liquid crystal, shifting color with every flicker of energy that courses through her. Around her head, a crown of fractured, floating shards rotates in slow, deliberate orbits, each piece emitting faint beams of light that stretch downward into the army below. Those beams are not decoration. They are control. Every soldier is connected to her. Every movement they make begins as a thought in her mind. The ground beneath them is not stable. It rises and falls in even plates, black as void stone, separated by glowing fissures that pulse with raw energy. The planet itself is breaking, its core exposed in violent fractures that bleed light into the air. The sky above churns endlessly, thick clouds of violet and gold twisting as if reality itself is unraveling. And still she remains unmoved. A ripple passes through the army, not sound, not motion, something deeper. A command instantly. The front lines shift. Towering constructs step forward, their limbs elongating, reshaping into weapons that hum with contained destruction. Behind them, range units unfold from compact forms into towering artillery, their bodies anchoring into the unstable ground as energy gathers at their cores. 1,000 weapons align in perfect synchronization, precision unity, absolute obedience. This is not an army that fights. This is an army that executes. At the center of it all, the Empress lowers her gaze. Her eyes are not like those of any known species. They glow faintly, not with light, but with depth, as if entire galaxies churn behind them. When she focuses, the beams connecting her to her forces intensify, threads of control tightening across the battlefield. She feels everything, every shift in terrain, every fluctuation in energy, every motion of every soldier. They are not separate from her. They are extensions of her will, her consciousness stretched across miles of living machinery. To face them is to face her, and not in fragments, but in totality. And yet, despite this overwhelming dominance, there is restraint. She does not unleash them all at once. She studies first. The battlefield before her is not just a place of war. It is a test, a calculation unfolding in real time. Each movement of her army is deliberate, probing, designed to measure resistance, to understand opposition before erasing it completely. Patience is her greatest weapon. The army advances in waves not out of necessity, but design. The first wave moves with measured force, testing the terrain, mapping reactions. The second adjusts, correcting inefficiency, closing gaps. The third prepares to end it, their forms already shifting into configurations meant for annihilation. Nothing is wasted, nothing is random. From above, she observes it all with perfect clarity. And yet, there is something else. A flicker, small, insignificant by every measurable standard, but different. Her focus narrows, the vast network of awareness tightening toward a single point on the battlefield. The army continues to move, continues to execute her will, but a fraction of her attention isolates, drawn to an anomaly, resistance. Not unusual in itself. Countless worlds have resisted. Countless species have fought, struggled, and ultimately fallen before her expansion. But this is distinct. Her crown shifts, the orbiting shards accelerating slightly as more energy channels into her perception. The beams of light intensify, refining the flow of information from her army. She sees it now with greater clarity. A disruption in the pattern, a point where her perfect synchronization falters, just for a moment, just enough to notice. The army does not stop. It cannot. It will not. Her command continues to flow, and her forces advance with the same terrifying precision as before. But her attention remains fixed, curious. Not threatened, curious. It is a rare sensation. Across countless conquests, she has encountered strength, defiance, even brilliance. But all of it has followed predictable paths. All of it has ended the same way. This feels different. She does not act on it immediately. Instead, she allows the battle to continue, her army tightening its formation, increasing pressure, adapting in real time. The waves grow more aggressive, more refined. Their movements closing in on the anomaly from all directions, a demonstration of inevitability, a reminder that nothing stands alone for long. And still, she watches. Her expression does not change, if such a thing can even be measured, but the subtle shift in her posture, the slight tilt of her head, suggests something new unfolding beneath the surface of her immense control. Interest, the battlefield trembles as her army prepares to collapse inward, to erase the final point of resistance with overwhelming force. But she does not rush it. She never rushes, because she knows how this ends. It always ends the same. And yet, as her gaze remains locked on that single, defiant presence below, a thought forms, quiet, precise, and unfamiliar. What if this time it doesn't? They close in with the confidence of inevitability. I can see it in the way they move, not rushed, not cautious, but precise, calculated, certain. The circle tightens around me in perfect synchronization, thousands of alien soldiers advancing step by measured step, their formation flawless, their silence absolute. No war cries, no signals I can hear, yet every motion is unified, as if they share a single mind. Maybe they do. The ground beneath my boots hums faintly, the fractured black plates shifting almost imperceptibly over the glowing fissures below. Light leaks upward through the cracks, painting the army in pulses of cold radiance. It makes them look less like soldiers and more like something inedible, like a force of nature closing in. And at the center of it all, one human, one blade, one fragile body surrounded by an army that could erase entire civilizations without breaking formation. They expect this to be easy. I can't blame them. A unit at the front steps closer, taller than the rest, its limbs unfolding into elongated blade like structures that shimmer with energy. Others follow its lead, their forms shifting, adapting, becoming weapons designed specifically for close-range execution. Behind them, I catch glimpses of heavier constructs anchoring themselves into the terrain, their bodies lock into range configurations, preparing to fire the moment I make a mistake. They're not just surrounding me. They're sealing every outcome. I roll my shoulders slowly, loosening the tension, though I never take my eyes off them. My grip tightens around the hilt of my sword, feeling the worn leather press into my palm. It's a small thing, primitive compared to what they carry, but it's enough. Has to be. The circle shrinks further, 10 meters, 8, 6. Close enough now that I can hear them. Not voices, but a low harmonic vibration that seems to resonate between them. It's almost calm, like they're not preparing for battle, but completing a process. I exhale slowly. All right, I murmur under my breath. Let's ruin your expectations. The first strike comes without warning. One of them lunges, its arm extending faster than sight. A blade of shifting metal aimed directly at my throat. I move on instinct, stepping inside the arc instead of away from it. My sword rises in a tight, controlled motion, deflecting the strike just enough to redirect it past my shoulder. Too close. I don't hesitate. My counter is immediate, short, efficient. The blade slides into the narrow seam where its armor segments meet. For a fraction of a second, there's resistance. Then it gives. The creature convulses, its internal light flickering violently before collapsing in on itself, disintegrating into particles that scatter across the glowing ground. One down, the circle doesn't break, it doesn't even flinch. If anything, it tightens. Good. That means they're paying attention now. 3 more rush in, their movements perfectly staggered to eliminate any escape. 1 high, 1 low, 1 from behind, coordinated, efficient, predictable. I pivot, letting the first strike pass inches from my face as I drop low, sweeping my leg out, not to trip, but to shift my position. The ground beneath me is unstable. The floating plates are uneven. I use that, push off at an angle they didn't account for. The second attacker misjudges by a fraction. That's all I need. I drive my blade upward into its core, twisting as I pull free, using the motion to spin into the third. My elbow slams into its midsection, not enough to damage, but enough to stagger. I follow with a clean horizontal strike that severs one of its limbs. It recoils. I don't let it recover. Another step. Another body dissolving into light. But they're faster now, smarter. The next wave doesn't rush. They close in slowly, weapons shifting into range forms even at this distance. I see the glow building at their cores, energy condensing, ready to fire. They're done testing. Now they're ending it. A dozen beams erupt at once. I move before they fire, not away. Forward. Straight into them. The blasts tear through the space I occupied a heartbeat ago, colliding with their own front line as I slip between them, using their precision against them. They hesitate, not from fear, but recalculation. And that hesitation is enough. I grab a shard of the fractured ground mid-stride, feeling its unnatural warmth pulse against my skin, and hurl it into the nearest cluster. It strikes and the reaction is immediate. Disruption, collapse, another gap in their perfect formation. I take it, I push through it. Every step is a decision. Every movement a calculation. I'm not stronger than them. I'm not faster than all of them. But I don't have to be. I just have to be unpredictable. Minutes stretch into something longer, something heavier. My breath comes harder now. My body slowing. Pain begin to catch up with me. Small cuts, near misses. They add up. I can feel it. So can they. The circle tightens again. Closer than before. 5 meters. 3. This time they don't rush. They advance together. All of them. An unbroken wall of alien steel and living light, closing in with absolute certainty, no gaps, no hesitation, no mistakes. This is the end they expected from the beginning. I stand still, not because I've given up, because this is where it matters. My chest rises and falls slowly as I steady my breathing, forcing my body to ignore the pain, the exhaustion, the impossible odds pressing in from every side. They think they understand me now. They think they've accounted for everything. I lift my blade, angling it slightly, feeling the faint hum beneath my feet, the energy pulsing through the fractured world itself. They adapted to me. Now I adapt to this place. The army closes to within a single step. Weapons raised, energy primed, victory certain. And for the briefest moment before everything breaks, they believe they've already won.